Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngozi. Let's take a look at the top stories. Seth and no Ugandan killed in Sudan war rescue operation. First Lady presides over groundbreaking of Aga Khan University and Specialized Hospital. Empowering women in Uganda, Vice President reiterates government's commitment to women emancipation. And Uganda's Victoria Pearls registers first win in Namibia series after defeating Hong Kong. Hello, once again, let's dig into it. The President Yoweri Museveni has assured the people of Somalia and the region of the African Union Transmission Mission in Somalia's commitment to stabilize the Horn of Africa. The President, who is the current chairperson of ATMIS, made the assurance at the extraordinary summit of the troop contributing countries held at State House Entebbe on Thursday.
The summit welcomed the cooperation between the federal government of Somalia and the federal member states, marked by the holding of meetings in the framework of the National Consultative Council to discuss state-building processes. The summit underlined the operational success against Al-Shabaab and increasing Somali security forces' capacity to lead security operations, recognize the efforts of the federal government of Somalia in force generation, regeneration, and integration as a major component to take over security responsibilities from African Union Transition Mission in Somalia by December 2024. The summit further called for the increased logistical support to the smallest security forces and extend the scope to reflect the realities on the ground. The summit recalled the relevant United Nations Security Council resolutions to adopt a strategic, gradual, and sector-by-sector approach to the drawdown and review assessment of security and performance of the African Transition Mission in Somalia. The summit reiterated the importance of force protection and survivability, including the provision of force multipliers and enablers, especially aviation support. The summit called for an early joint assessment and planning for drawdown process of the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia.
Is indebted and will remain grateful for the contribution and the sacrifices made by the troop contributing countries for the last 16 years, for almost now 16 years. We know this was based on a very big principle for us as Africans, African problems with African solutions, and this was the solution for Somalia.
Meanwhile, over 200 Ugandans have successfully been evacuated from the war-ravaged city of Khartoum in Sudan. This results from an intervention by Uganda's top leadership led by President Yoweri Museveni following the unrest in Sudan that left over 300 Ugandans trapped. Uganda's ambassador to Sudan, Dr. Yahya Rashid Semodu, says majority of the evacuees are male, including students and business people.
This is a Uganda Airlines Airbus. It is just arriving from the Bahar Dar International Airport of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia. It is carrying mainly Ugandans. They were trapped in the middle of unrest in Sudan, prompting Ugandan government to intervene. After long hours of travel by road, from Sudan to the Ethiopian border, and then to Bahar Dar International Airport, they are finally home. From children to women and mothers, all the way to men, it is a relief for these Ugandans. Whereas looking exhausted, the spirit of patriotism remains part of their life. As he officially receives them, Presidential Advisor Special Operations welcomes them back home.
We are also happy that we were able to bring you back, and most of you are still in good shape. We are very grateful that you're home. We thank God that most of our people have come.
Uganda's ambassador to Sudan traveled with them along with his own family. Dr. Yahya Rashid Semudu is mostly relieved, especially that no Ugandan died in the unrest.
We found it easy to reach them through their leadership, the chairman of the Uganda community in Khartoum, and also the chairman of the students, the Ugandan students in Khartoum, plus the leader of the group which was going to Mecca. And also we have a small number of 19 Ugandans who are on treatment at Al Salam Hospital.
This success is as a result of our long road journey to the Ethiopian border with Sudan. They were meant to board a plane to Uganda from the border. The runway turned out to be small for the Airbus of Uganda Airlines to land. This is how they ended up at Bahar Dar International Airport in northern Ethiopia. After long hours of endurance and patience, 211 of the 300 Ugandans are finally home, and everyone is appreciative to the Ugandan government.
I want to appreciate the president of this country for the spirit of patriotism and making sure that his nationals were able to be brought back home safely. We appreciate the defense forces to all levels. We do appreciate a head of mission and his staff for making sure that they mobilize the Ugandans who are in South Sudan, rather in Juba, in Khartoum, and making sure that everybody was brought on board.
No Ugandan spent even a single penny to be evacuated. We were instructed as the embassy to use to divert the money we had for other activities to cover this, and also the evacuation, the flight and everything was covered by the government.
But what about the remaining Ugandans? Where are they? What is their fate? And what is government's plan for them, if any? We posed these questions to Ambassador Semudu, and he appreciatively answered.
We know there must be some other Ugandans in some other areas of the country, because Sudan is a very big country. In case we are in touch with the Ugandan community to make sure that they feed us with information in case there are any other Ugandans they know. But the effect so far has been in Khartoum and those areas which are surrounding Khartoum.
The few still remaining there, we shall put in place plans to try and get them out as well. So thank you, welcome home.
Fighting in Sudan broke out in mid-April 2023, igniting a humanitarian misfortune, leading to death of over 400 people. The disagreement is between troops loyal to the President Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Vice President Mohamed Hamdan, the commander of the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Senior Presidential Advisor on Special Operations, General Ngozi Kainerugaba, has hailed President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni and the Ethiopian government for the support and efforts rendered towards the successful evacuation of Ugandans who were trapped in the Sudan war zone. General Ngozi, who steered and commanded the evacuation process, was at the Entebbe Old Airport base in the wee hours of Thursday morning.
The presence of the Special Forces Command personnel at the Old Entebbe Airport base was a manifestation of a successful rescue mission of Ugandans who were trapped in the Sudan war. Present at the base was the former SFC commander and now the Senior Presidential Advisor on Special Operations, General Ngozi Kainerugaba, to ensure a safe landing of Ugandan evacuees. At 30:30 a.m., Uganda national carrier A330 landed at the old airport base, where on board were Ugandan university students studying from Khartoum, businessmen and Muslims who were returning from Hijjah in Mecca but got trapped in Khartoum waiting for a connecting flight to Entebbe, Uganda. General Ngozi Kainerugaba, with humor, welcomed these Ugandans back home.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome. Who's this? This is your child?
Yeah.
Hello.
Come on.
Welcome.
According to General Ngozi, the repatriation process was entirely mission-ably executed by Uganda's allied forces, the Special Forces Command.
Some of the Special Forces officers can also come forward. He was also coordinating from here, but he came and picked you up in Ethiopia. And the whole of SFC, which is the one receiving you now.
He saluted the President of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, for creating an enabling ground for the repatriation process.
We want to thank our President. He's the one who planned all of this and supported us to help you come back.
Ngozi equally hailed the Ethiopian government for the cooperation rendered in the rescue operation mission.
We also want to thank the government of Ethiopia very much for allowing us to use their territory to evacuate you.
At the airport, the team was treated to a brotherly reception comprised of refreshments, medical assistance, as well as free government transport to their final destinations.
There are some medical checks for those who are not feeling well. The doctors will check you, and then there's some transportation to take you to Kampala. Thank you very much.
General Ngozi Kainerugaba offered a standing ovation to the Uganda Airlines for making the journey possible and also pledged that efforts to return more of the willing citizens back home are still on.
To thank General Ngozi the most, because he was the one commanding this operation and supervising it.
It was fine. We found them organized. So the process was very fast. They were happy, of course, to come back home. They were happy. They were desperate to get back here.
Robert Nyango.
The First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has presided over the groundbreaking of Aga Khan University and Hospital in Nakawa that will offer life-saving care and quality education for many of the underprivileged Ugandans in the coming years once completed. Speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony, the First Lady appreciated the Aga Khan Foundation initiative for the huge investment they are going to undertake in Uganda.
Aga Khan University under the Aga Khan Development Network has commenced construction of the university's Kampala campus in Nakawa with facilities for a hospital, academic and students' residences. The 60-acre piece of land near Nakawa Business Park was given to the Aga Khan Development Network by the government of Uganda. It becomes the largest single capital development of Aga Khan in East Africa. This investment, once completed, will be part of the fulfillment of President Museveni's vision of prosperity for Uganda through providing opportunities for institutions that will contribute to the social and economic transformation of Uganda. The First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, who was the chief guest at the groundbreaking ceremony, appreciates God for the exceptionally skilled and equipped nurses and midwives the Aga Khan University and Hospital will bring to Uganda.
It's my prayer and hope that in the coming years, through the Aga Khan Teaching Hospital, Kampala, thousands of our people will receive life-saving care, making it a beacon of hope. Thousands of our babies will be born in delivery rooms, making it a scene of joy. And that thousands of our young generation will receive quality education, making it a hub for personal growth and transformation.
Princess Zahara Aga Khan said this project will bring new elements in Aga Khan University, like training the most needed specialists that will make a huge difference in Uganda's medical care.
Not only will it bring a new four-year bachelor's degree in nursing and medicine, but it will train much-needed specialists through residency programs in surgery, internal medicine, and other fields. In 24 specialities, the hospital will, inshallah, provide families with peace of mind that comes from knowing that specialist care is available here, close to home.
As Uganda opens doors of opportunity to Aga Khan University to demonstrate the power of Africa and Asia's collaboration to contribute to the body of knowledge, the measure of these services to global standards need to be considered.
Higher education and science are two of the most important factors in development, and Africa requires having institutions that will assist in the development of those resources. It isn't only sufficient to create the resources, but we have to be able to measure them against global standards so that institutions of Africa, whether they be in healthcare or in other areas, come up to global standards.
The German government extended a grant of $17 million to Aga Khan to support this project and expressed confidence in Aga Khan University to achieve its goal, given its performance record. I'm Nafka Farida.
Vice President Jessica Lupo has reiterated Uganda's commitment towards women emancipation during the United Nations Women Leadership High-Level Dinner in Kampala. Lupo said Uganda has made noticeable strides in women emancipation, citing the bigger number of women holding positions in the cabinet and at all other levels of leadership.
Value addition, marketing and industrialization. Uganda therefore has several good practices in pursuing gender equality and empowering women, and I am therefore pleased that UN Women selected this venue to host the regional meeting. We are privileged to have you here in the Pearl of Africa, and we request that you stay longer and enjoy the climate and the beautiful sceneries of our country. Not only does Uganda offer a conducive environment, but also the opportunity to showcase the positive impact of the policies and laws that support gender equality and improved livelihoods for Ugandans. Other well-intentioned institutions that support the national agenda of socio-economic transformation.
I would like to invite our regional director to say a few words before inviting.
What are the conditions that are met in Uganda for the success that we have seen? And we will expect government also to share with us their vision, how they determine that raising the situation of women can transform society and can set Uganda on the path of development.
Dear colleagues, as we gather here this evening and listen to the insights of Her Excellency, the Vice President of this country, the Republic of Uganda, but also from our Minister of Gender and from our Regional Director, I would like us to capitalize on the exchange to share concrete ideas on collaboration and cooperation. How can we as leaders in our respective areas come together and really strategize on how to push for gender equality and women's empowerment?
And now the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, has highlighted the importance and potential of intellectual property to the younger generation, especially women. On a day that Uganda joins the rest of the world to celebrate IP, Mao urges women to focus on transitioning to a more suitable future using creativity.
Every year, on the 26th of April, Uganda joins the rest of the world to mark the Intellectual Property Rights Day. This year's theme is Women and IP, accelerating innovation and creativity, celebrating the can-do attitude of women inventors, creators and entrepreneurs across Uganda and their groundbreaking work.
We have seen significant progress towards promoting gender equality and women empowerment in various sectors of our economy. However, when it comes to accessing and protecting their intellectual property rights, women still face significant challenges that can hinder their ability to fully participate in and reap the benefits of the innovation economy.
This year's World IP Celebrations is helping raise critical public awareness on the role of IP systems while advocating for more women inventors, creators and entrepreneurs to add value to the technologies, brands and creative works they develop.
To address these challenges, we must take a comprehensive approach that includes increasing awareness and education about intellectual property rights, providing access to legal and financial resources, and addressing cultural biases and stereotypes that limit women's participation in the innovation economy.
We want to bridge the gap between the creation or the creators, the authors of works, and the enjoyment in terms of the commercialization. People want to copy designs and inventions of other people or other creators without authorization.
Women in Uganda continue to shape business and creative fields through their imagination, ingenuity and hard work, but often face significant challenges in accessing the knowledge, skills, resources and support they need to thrive. Charlotte Amoge and Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
This year's Martyrs Day celebrations will cost 2.3 billion shillings, according to the organizing committee. The Minister for General Duties, Justin Kasule Lumumba, says half of the money has already been secured and preparations are underway.
The organizing committee for this year's Catholic Martyrs Day celebration is seeking for financial support towards the success of 3rd June commemoration.
The Corporate Conference of Uganda sat and gave responsibility to animate Namugongo 3rd June this year to the ecclesiastical province of Tororo, and then Tororo gave the responsibility to lead to Diocese of Jinja, that is the whole of Busoga. So it involves a lot. Part of it is to organize all that is required, and it also has financial implications.
The Minister for General Duties, who also doubles as the organizing committee patron, Justin Kasule Lumumba, notes that the committee has already secured half of the budget required of 2.3 billion shillings.
We have our budget. Our budget is 2,360 million. And so far, we have covered half of it, in both cash and pledges. And we are moving on well. So we call on all well-wishers who can contribute. Please do contribute. But most importantly, we want you in Namugongo in big numbers to come and celebrate.
So I'll take the opportunity to appeal to everyone from whatever religion to support Jinja Diocese in the Namugongo, because Namugongo has become a Ugandan brand for the international world.
Father Paul Musana, the Vicar General of Jinja Diocese, which was given the mandate to organize this year's Martyrs Day celebration, made some highlights on the preparations.
Christians in the whole diocese are giving a lot of support, giving a lot of food, giving a lot of prayers. We have prayers which we say at every Mass, songs which have been composed. The choir is heavily ready because they have done practice twice publicly.
The organizing committee is collaborating with the MTN Uganda to provide digital networking and financial support.
So even for us here at MTN, I think it's a great opportunity not only to partner with them in kind in terms of ensuring that the network on that day is great, partnering with them in terms of ensuring that those who are not able to join, they're able to follow on the various broadcasting services that will be available, but also to see what we can be able to support in terms of financing some of the logistics that will be required for the day.
Every 3rd June, different people from different countries gather at Namugongo Catholic Shrine in remembrance of the martyrs who were killed for their faith.
The Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen wants Uganda and Ethiopia to leverage on the existing bilateral ties to grow trade. Although Ethiopia and Uganda are strong advocates of peace and security in the region, Premier Mekonnen is concerned about the dismal trade between the two sisterly countries.
The visiting Ethiopian Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen has hailed the existing mutual ties between Ethiopia and Uganda. Mekonnen is in Uganda as part of his 4th and last leg visit to African countries in the Eastern Great Lakes region.
Ethiopia and Uganda enjoy a very strong traditional ties. We have been very close. No matter who is at the helm of power in our capitals, the two countries have been enjoying very cordial ties.
He's among regional heads taking part in the African Transitional Mission in Somalia ATMIS Troops Country Summit that is underway in Entebbe. The deliberations also revolved around the bilateral and regional issues of mutual concern.
For example, the trade between Ethiopia and Uganda is not significant. We have to see into how we can really boost trade and investment between the two. The Ethiopian Airlines flies between Ethiopia and Uganda as well. It could be a tool to boost investment on tourism, and that is also another area. Apart from that, as members of the Nile Basin Initiative, we have also common interest on the usage of the river Nile among all basin countries. Kampala has ratified the Nile Basin Initiative.
Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen paid a courtesy call to the Ethiopian Embassy in Kololo and held discussions with Etsegenet Imenu, the new ambassador of Ethiopia to Uganda, and other invited guests. Dennis Igoa and Juman Samba for UBC News.
Stakeholders in the health sector want government to spearhead the extension of sexual and reproductive health services that include family planning as one of the ways to promote safe motherhood. Ministry of Health statistics show that unmet need for family planning in Uganda is about 33%, implying that some women who would wish to delay childbearing have no access to modern contraceptives.
Uganda has one of the fastest growing populations in the world at 3% per annum, with an estimated 44.2 million people, majority of whom are young people below the age of 30. During the Health Partners meeting organized by Martyrs Uganda, stakeholders highlighted the need for government to ensure that women of reproductive age have easy access to modern contraception.
As you know, funding tends to come in pulses, 5 years, 2 years, like that. So it's all about resource mobilization, and part of this engagement has brought lots of our donors and prospective funders to show them our work and to show them the need. So we expect that with continued engagement we'll attract more people to invest. However, the government of Uganda needs to lead this investment. It is not sustainable for us to keep begging outside.
Access to modern contraception has a number of financial and health benefits, including minimizing the negative effects related to childbirth.
From a broader perspective, it's about the economy. We need to have people that we can support. At the family level, a father and mother need to have the number of children that they can support. And we're talking about quality children, not quantity children. Children you can send to school, children you can take to the hospital, children you can discipline and guide.
Statistics from the Ministry of Health show that young women below the age of 24 account for 20% of maternal deaths. It is against this backdrop that the Director of Curative Services in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Charles Olaro, invited Martyrs and other partners to work with government structures at lower levels to avail sexual and reproductive services to the grassroots people.
And I'm looking at the aspect of postpartum and post-abortive family planning. Because if you do that, now that 80% of these mothers actually deliver in our health facilities, then we can be able to get them from there. And then probably get the others. Because if you don't do that, then by the time you meet them again, they are not able to start family planning, they are already pregnant.
To ensure equitable access to family planning, obstacles including limited access to family planning commodities and resources to ensure sustainable financing need to be addressed. Adia Nakute, UBC.
And the Director, Stroke Foundation, Doreen Nsima, has advised members of the public to carry out routine tests to avoid abrupt stroke. Nsima was visiting stroke patients and distributing medical and health supplies in Kasangati, donated by Palliative Care Africa to allow the underprivileged access to care.
African Palliative Care, through Trust Fund, they gave us a fund which we have been using to take care, to train these stroke survivors, to train the stroke survivors, the caregivers, and even reintegrating the stroke survivors back to
community. Our trainees to keep updated on the information related to stroke and other palliative care issues, because they are the ones we need every time. Actually, we need them more than ourselves. They are the stroke champions. They are palliative care champions. We like them. They are good people. When they are on ward, as a doctor, you are not worried of anything. They can make.
It suddenly falls down and the breaks. What will you say? So you need to be kind and polite, because they are not doing it because they want, but they are doing it because that disease, the weakness. So need you to be kind to these patients. Then when you're speaking to them, you need to be polite. Okay? So you need politeness. You have seen that these patients really have got issue. Control the cholesterol, your blood cholesterol. When you control your blood cholesterol, you will reduce the risks of blockage of your blood vessels in that. the brain. There is those. Then you control your sugar levels for people who have diabetes. Then you limit your intake of alcohol. Then you treat if someone has high blood pressure, at least he has to keep on medication, because when it is not controlled, the blood pressure is not controlled, it can lead to stroke. Then someone with diabetes, that one you also have to keep on medication, you control your sugar, at least they should not rise so high or they should not drop so low. At least it should be controlled.
Now, Mulago National Specialized Referral Hospital has organized a 2-day free medical camp and wellness clinic for children and adults that will run from the 1st of May till the 2nd. Dr. John Sekabira, who represented the Deputy Director of Mulago Hospital, made the remarks while addressing the media, stating that the camp will target more than 200 people to be screened and treated.
Through their corporate social responsibility, in line with celebrating the National Labour Day, Mulago National Referral Hospital has organized an open-day free medical camp for the general public.
We have deliberately organized what we call Mulago Open Days. These open days will run quarterly. We had one for diagnostics. Now we are running one for medicine and pediatrics. And we want to routinise these open days. Every quarter, we'll be opening up the hospital to the public that is actually not even sick, so that then you test, you see it firsthand that the service is actually available.
Diagnostic tests like a screening, we call it screening, for men, basically it's prostate cancer, and women cervical cancer, and also other tests for blood to know the conditions about blood diseases, kidney diseases, liver diseases, and all those host of conditions.
Yeah, we're going to have specialists in the brain, the heart, the blood, the kidneys, the liver, skin, infectious disease specialists, and various other specialists available who are here just to check on our health and see how we're doing. You don't have to be sick, but sometimes you just need a checkup, and sometimes you might have a condition that is still minor or undiagnosed. So this is the opportunity to come and interface with specialists, physicians in different areas.
Specialized team of medical doctors have been selected to screen a number of diseases in children, like the heart, kidney, and also tackle nutrition and immunization.
Will be in position to get, and also COVID vaccine. We'll be giving COVID vaccines. In diseases, we shall screen for heart diseases in children, and not only screening, but we shall link them to care. We shall give treatment for that day, and then we link them to where we shall continue seeing them.
Which tests are we able to do? We are able to check the cardiac tests. We are able to check the liver function tests. We are able to check the kidney function tests. We are able to check fertility tests for women. And we are able to check infectious diseases. So our lab services are free to all Ugandans, except for those ones who come through the private way.
Medical experts at Mulago Hospital also revealed that they still receive and admit COVID-19 patients with severe symptoms and urge the public to observe standard operating procedures.
We think that these are now new variants, new strains, but we'll wait to hear following the diagnostics and further evaluation. However, we still do get a few patients. They're still few, but they're still there, and they come in with severe symptoms. So the public needs to be aware that they still need to take up the usual precautions to prevent COVID.
Zahara Abigaba, UBC News.
So corruption is one of the major vices said to be delaying prosperity of government projects, while inaugurating the 7th Local Government Finance the Minister for Local Government, Rhoda Ngozi, asked the commissioners to desist from the vice and ensure service delivery.
Even though government has come up with various interventions to ensure that low-income earners enter into the money economy, these interventions end up not reaching the rightful beneficiaries due to corruption. While inaugurating the 7th Local Government Finance Commission, Minister for Local Government Rhoda Ngozi cautioned them to focus on service delivery.
The core mandate of local government, which is service delivery. Service delivery is the reason why decentralization is in place. You know, you keep on hearing some people say, we want a new district, we want a new town council, we want a new sub-county. People are asking for services getting closer to them. Let's fight corruption. Because you can promote increased revenue, but if the leakages are not stopped, it's as good as a job lost. So we need to be sure that the money collected in local government reaches the coffer of the council and that money is deployed on service delivery.
Ngozi wants the commissioners to enhance local revenue collection, which in return will be used to provide services to the communities.
But how do you provide services without finances? So I went through a number of possible sources of local revenue, which can be enhanced. In my own understanding and thinking, yes, government can give grants and should give grants to the local governments because that's part of the constitution. But the most important financing mechanism for decentralization is local revenue. So we must do everything it takes to enhance local revenue.
You must fight hard to protect your integrity, your moral uprightness, your trust, your patriotism, your transparency, and excellent work for this noble government of the Republic of Uganda.
State Minister for Local Government, Victoria Businjerusoke, advocated for teamwork for proper service delivery.
People start with excitement because they're in a new post, they come daily, they sit together, they work as a team. But after a week or two, the seriousness, the teamwork, the cohesion, which the President is emphasizing, begins watering down, and in the end, there's cliquism, people are working in isolation. If you reach that level, you better tell us or you resign.
The Local Government Finance Commission consists of 7 members tasked to advise the President on financing of local governments. Mary Namkose, Sodat Kaye, UBC News.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom Voice Bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. we have revised our rates, and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa, and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Tonight. Care International Uganda, in partnership with the government of Uganda, have engaged women empowerment stakeholders to deliver women economic resilience through enterprise and market systems, which is a project aimed at increasing transition of women from small micro enterprise. The program manager, Editon Babu, says the project targets over 300,000 women across the country to equip them with access to finance and markets, increased access to trainings for productivity to enhance their income.
With an impact to improve the economic resilience of 340,000 women across selected districts of southwest and northern Uganda through gender transformation policies, enterprise and market systems, stakeholders of DREAM project held a stakeholders meeting engagement in Kampala. The project will support the government to establish an integrated program, customized services that empower women entrepreneurs.
Is to increase transition of women from small and micro enterprises, so that they are able to transition. Those who are in micro to move to small. Those who are from small to micro, to be able to enhance their income, to be able to improve their well-being by ensuring that they have access to finance, they have training on productivity, they have increased access to markets.
The Commissioner for Gender and Women Affairs in the Ministry of Gender, Dr. Angela Nakafero, appreciates the stakeholders for the efforts made towards women empowerment.
So in terms of the DREAM's strategic fitting, really the aspect of mobilizing women and awareness around opportunities, around services that are in place that they can utilize to advance their businesses, but of course even in terms of graduation. We need an intervention that can handwork with women in business to make them see the strategic direction and of course be able to grow.
The Deliver Women Economic Resilience Through Enterprise and Market Systems DREAM project targets over 340,000 women that are typically from rural areas, self-employed, and young urban hustlers across the country. Jane Nyiramcha, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
And as Skilling Uganda program takes shape, stakeholders are worried that the low intake of the girl child and high costs of training need concerted efforts by government if Uganda is to fulfill her Development Agenda 2040. Speaking of the orientation of new skills trainees at Lugogo Vocational Training Institute, the chairperson Board of Governors, Lugogo Vocational Training Institute, Engineer Winfred Bukira, says that we need to address all encumbrances to skills and vocational training for job creation and development.
The government of Uganda is fully supporting skills and vocational training as a measure to fight youth unemployment and to fulfill Uganda's Development Vision 2040. According to stakeholders in the education sector, there is need to offer more subsidies to the technical and vocational training in a bid to address job creation and development.
Because, as you say, the cost of training is really very, very, very high. The cost of training materials is very high, and yet we must have the materials in order for the trainees to gain the skills. So we are also asking government to give a hand.
The chairperson, Board of Governors, Lugogo Vocational Training Institute, Engineer Wilfred Bukirwa, is grateful to government for supporting skills training and encouraged new entrants to Lugogo Vocational Training Institute to be mindful of their mission and aspirations.
As you all know, that Vision 2040 looks at doing more skilling so that we can move to the industrialization that we are looking at in the Vision 2040. And this is one of the institutes that skills those people that would want to change the way our country is moving. And this is aimed at fighting the unemployment rate that is really high and biting up.
The Directorate of Industrial Training at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Patrick Byakatonda, in his address to the trainees, expressed the need for continuous assessment and upgrading their careers.
You can also do it. This is the beginning of the long journey. You can graduate both ways. From here is a starting point for you to become an engineer. But also, you can be an engineer when you are not successful financially. It is also, here we promote employable skills. For the freshers, we welcome you to this family. It is a big family of Lugogo Vocational. First of all, I think we have the biggest enrollment in all technical institutes in Uganda.
The meeting also hinted on the need to popularize girl-child skilling, saying that the percentage of girls to boys is still very low. Sandra Kahonde, Henry Muganga, UBC News.
Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Monica Musenero, has said the budget for the next financial year has been cut by almost 90%, and if not revised, a number of projects are likely to stall within the sector. Dr. Musenero made the remarks at a high-level breakfast engagement of stakeholders of Research and Innovation Fund at Makerere University.
For the last 4 years, government has been funding Makerere University to the tune of 30 billion shillings annually in areas of research and innovation. During a stakeholders engagement this morning, it was established that returns on investment of these funds are beyond average.
We have a lot. We have identified Paris development model. I've talked about science, the performance of science students in senior secondary schools, where we find that very few students offering science join higher educational institutions. Reason that they are not performing very well. As Research and Innovation Fund, we have gone far to interrogate what is happening.
The Vice Chancellor, Makerere University, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe, suggests that more funds be allocated to them for bigger and better results.
If given the necessary resources, we can actually transform this country in a very short time. So, Honorable Minister and Members of Parliament, if you could double that figure. I know we are going through a difficult situation, but to solve that difficult situation, you need to invest. So you double the figure to 60 billion a year, and you will see the wonders that come out of Makerere University.
The government chief whip, Hamson Obua, allayed these fears, saying already plans to boost the fund are underway. He also hinted on the fact that government intends to expand the fund to benefit other public universities.
I think Makerere University must be a benchmark for other universities to achieve on research and innovation. Government remains committed in ensuring that we get resources, we roll out research and innovation fund from Makerere to other public universities, and we are optimistic that funds permitting, this is one of the priority areas that His Excellency the President has highlighted, that funding will be available in order for us to support science, technology, innovation, and research.
This is coming at the heels of the looming budget cuts. Dr. Monica Musenero, the Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, says with the proposed budgetary cuts of 90%, Pursuing some of these priorities might remain on paper.
Our budget was at first cut by close to 90%. So yes, and many of the things that we have been funding next financial year are not likely. We have had some little money added to us, but still very, very far. So the budget this year is now about 70% less than what we have had this other financial year. That one was still inadequate, but it is even much worse now. So if this budget is passed the way it is, we are not going to make a lot of progress.
Dr. Monica further reveals that even the issue of Uganda making vaccines is on hold since there are no funds for clinical trials.
Vaccines are there. Not only do we have these vaccines, but we have built capacity now we can make any vaccine. We have built that capacity using that money. The first steps of the vaccines have been done. The vaccines are there. Members of parliament, they have gone in, they have seen it. Not everybody can go there and see them. But the next step is now taking these vaccines to clinical trial and then mass production. So that's the money we have asked for this year. If we get it, we'll be able to do it. If we don't get it, then next year you'll be asking me the same question.
The high-level breakfast meeting attracted participants from the academia, development partners, politicians, and civil society organizations. Dorcas Kimono, UBC TV News.
The Department for Women and Children has organized the Muslims Women's Day that will take place on the last Friday of the month annually and will coincide with the month of Ramadan. The Secretary for Women and Children Affairs, Namakula Radia, speaking at the Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, appealed to all women to attend the celebration scheduled for the 28th of this month at their headquarters in Kampala with the aim of launching the UMCS Children's Fund to the needy children.
It's a real thing. The theme for this year is positive parenting is an act of worship. 2023 is the year of a Muslim child. This theme has been selected majorly because the new constitution changed the name of the department from Women and Youth to Women and Children. We are also celebrating because for the first time in the history of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, the children have been brought on board. Also, that the youth have been given a full department in the administration of Uganda Muslim Supreme Council.
Parenting is a big task or a big role because they say charity begins at home. The way we parent our children, the way we take care of our children matters a lot in their future. So let us not leave our children always go out to let them the world to shape them.
The peak of our celebration will be the launching of the UMSC Children's Education Fund.
And now Uganda Broadcasting Corporation TV host Chisache Katawaro Big Sam has been awarded by Africa Young Achievers Award Scheme for his tremendous projection of the African culture and arts. At the award ceremony in Accra, Ghana, Big Sam was hailed for breaking the barriers, promoting Africa to the world through his shows including The Gospel Hype on UBC TV and social media. On arrival at Entebbe International Airport, UBC hailed UBC TV, Big Sam hailed UBC TV for the platform to showcase talent and skill, saying the award belongs to all Ugandans.
Aspect, and that's why it is the African Humanitarian of the Year Award 2023, and I'm so honored that I was nominated right from Uganda and I received it in Accra, Ghana. There was quite a number of things they considered when they were nominating me. Number one, they looked at my media career everything that I do on UBC TV and the social media platform on Gospel Hype, and most of the things that I talk about and how I deliver whatever that I do, and how I involve myself in the community to help other achievers, other talented people in the country to achieve whatever they have to achieve. I think that they considered all that, and that's why they gave me this award. This is an honorary award which I don't compete with anyone. So the organizers of this award, they just look into particular sectors or fields, and they look for particular individuals that suit that category. So I was not competing with anyone. I would say I was competing with the whole world to the organizers so that they could pick me up. So I
And players in ICT sector have raised concern over a unified data center to ease service delivery for both private and public domain. Key government agencies like NITAU, NIRA and others have been having contradicting information of citizens compromising information. Now, Raxio Data Center, carrier-neutral data center in Uganda, is on a renewed drive to support effective data storage for Ugandan businesses and the country at large.
Both sectors work closely together. A lot of public sector provisions are for private sector development, and a lot of private sector development leads into public sector achievements. So ideally they need to be working in the same place. I think that the most important thing about data centers is that the public sector should be in highly available data centers, because we are beyond the time where public sector service provision was what you'd say below par. It needs to be at the same level as private sector, because the two sectors have to work and run at the same pace. We're not in a completely bad situation. We've already seen the first steps being taken towards digital migration as a country. We've seen the steps taken by the driving license, we've seen the steps taken by the passport, we've seen the steps taken by URA on EFRIS in terms of making sure that everyone who's invoicing is sending out digital invoices, so that tax collection and tax declaration is happening at the same time. What we have not seen happening yet is where all these systems are working collaboratively, working together, and being able to have this one centralized database that actually will answer all the questions across everything in the digital space. So I feel that the future of Uganda depends on integration. We need to have all the public sector databases integrated into maybe one master database, hosted in the right environment, and then we need to have the private sector being able to consult or plug into this database to be able to pick up this information, and then they can deliver service for the private sector in collaboration with the public sector.
Meanwhile, Airtel Africa and UNICEF have reaffirmed their shared commitment to accelerate access to quality education for millions of Ugandan children through digital learning. The commitment was made during Airtel Africa CEO Segun Ugusanya's courtesy visit to Chitende Secondary School in Entebbe, Kampala.
Airtel Africa and UNICEF launched the Digital Learning Partnership in October 2021 to accelerate the rollout of the digital learning for children by connecting schools to the internet and ensuring free access to learning platforms in Uganda and other Airtel operating countries to ensure that every child reaches their full potential.
We're committing $57 million to this. $7 million in cash over 5 years, like my partner said, and $50 million in kind. It's not a small amount of money, but we don't have any regrets doing this.
The partnership was launched in Uganda at St. Mary's Assumpta Girls High School in Ajumani district, which was connected by internet to Chitende Senior Secondary School, enabling students at the two schools to engage in a shared online biology classroom session. Addressing guests at Chitende SS, Airtel Africa CEO said, Airtel Africa is cognizant of the great value that education contributes to our nations across the continent.
Because we believe for any country to prosper, you must have communities that are prospering. If your communities are not prospering, there's no worth, there's no value in any country being prospering. That's why we're doing this. Not because we're flush with cash, but before we know it's the right thing to do. We must lift our communities up. We must lift our people up. And as a large company, we have an obligation to support communities where we operate.
Ethiopia-Uganda, in partnership with UNICEF and the government, will connect 100 schools in the first 2 years, targeting to positively impact 54,750 learners and teachers in primary and secondary schools across the country, but focusing on rural schools in West Nile and Karamoja regions. The State Minister for Primary Education, Dr. Mariko Kaduchu, acknowledged the positive contribution by Ethiopia-Uganda and UNICEF, which will be running for 5 years and targets to transform the way learners interact with teachers and the learning content. She pledged government support to the partnership in form of a conducive policy framework and engagement.
This is one of the reform agendas that have been brought in the Ministry of Education and Sports, the digital agenda. This is what we've all along longed for, to see that is implemented in our learning institutions, especially secondary education. There are quite a number of reforms in the education sector, but the most critical is the digital agenda reforms. As we've heard from Dr. Munir, most especially the girls and the female would not have enough space in the digital agenda.
The fourth Sustainable Development Goal, which is among the 17 SDGs established by the United Nations, advocates for inclusive and equitable quality education to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all children by creating early access to education plus other learning opportunities. Sandra Kahonde, BBC News.
Well, that does it for News Tonight. Thank you for sticking with us. I am Rhoda Ngozi. Have yourselves a lovely night.